Do you want to be fun to talk with? Of course you do. So, how is it that you might be doing well in self improvement and you're so interesting? You've got all these things going on, and no one wants to talk with you. Well, the principles from the 48 Laws of Power, How to Win Friends and Influence People still behind me, and some of my experience, both bad and good. I'd like to think of myself as a very social person, but that doesn't stop me from making mistakes, which I have made. So, number one mistake is, well, the number one principle to be fun to talk with is people love to talk about themselves. So, you're so interesting to you, but they are so interesting to them. It does not matter if you are genuine, if you are the most interesting person in the world, you have all these things going on, you have all this knowledge, you are the most knowledgeable person, you are everything you want, perfect package. People still think they're better. Like, well, not they're better, but they're more interested in themselves. They want to talk about themselves more than they want to talk about you. Even if you're great, like you could be great, my friend. And if you're on self improvement and you're working, you're watching them long form videos and you're working hard and you're learning, yeah, you're probably great and all that. And these people might be bog standard, but they don't think that. And you might be like, well, good thing I'm different. You're really not, my friend. And why do I say you're not different? Let me ask you a question. Group photo. Who do you look at first? Yourself, don't you? I do the same now. I'm no saint. Like, I look at myself the same. We all do. Of course we would. Because once again, to us, we are the most interesting people in the world. So you want to be more fun? Talk about the other person. Ask them questions about them. As Dale Carnegie says in How to Win Friends and Influence People, become genuinely interested in other people. I think genuine is an important thing there. There's no point in just like talking to people like, oh, and not paying attention. Look them in the eye, ask them, oh, you do that. Well, how did you get into the honey business? It's like, how's Tim? Like, I'll take a guy who works with wood. And he's like, oh, how's the timber? Oh, what's much work done? Do you do this? Have you ever done something? What's the bed? Have you ever done wood bending? Are you interested in that? What do you think of wood turning? Like, ask them about themselves. Now, the genuinely interested part is a point where you kind of level up. When you are genuinely interested in people, like they become enjoyable conversations. You don't need to just talk about yourself anymore because then you're interested in them. So, do you want to hear when I did it right? You can't decide, so I've already decided for you. You will hear when I did it right because I'm amazing this time. So, I did it right when me and a not so distant, so not close friend of mine, not distant friend of mine, kind of friendly. I'm friendly with loads of people, so friendly with this guy. And it's me and him, and we're going back on this train, and random conversations. I think another guy's reading a book next to us, so we're talking about books and reading and learning. Business comes up because any chance I can get, really. And I ask him, what do you want to do after school? College. Do you want to do that? What do you want to do after college? And he tells me he likes filmmaking, but he'll probably go into business because there's no money. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate. And then I asked him, well, what about business? Do you have much interest in it? He's like, ah, yeah, well, not too, like, it's business, it'll be good money for me. And then I asked him, okay, what sector of business do you want? And it's like, well, business management. And I asked him about him. I'm like, don't you, like, he has a problem being assertive and looking people in the eye. So, like, I asked him, oh, is that something you're cut out for? And he's like, oh, no, I think so. And I asked him, like, well, maybe it's not. And maybe what if you could just use business and filmmaking skills to do this? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I could do that actually. And starts talking about that. I said, maybe not, though. Don't know if I can do that. And then this and that. Topic of the conversation is irrelevant. But just think about it this. You and your mate, whoever it is, or maybe not so close mate of yours, because your close mate probably wants to talk about you just as much. You ask him questions, about him or her. You ask them questions about them. You'll go from small talk like, oh, books, oh, business, money, and that, like, oh, I love money, to, oh, that's, to a deeper conversation, to a fruitful conversation, to something you can enjoy. Don't do that, and you'll end up like me, where I was talking to this guy, and for a reason I'm full up with myself right now. I got Student of the Year. It was like an award day. I was feeling like the king. I was got unbeaten at this point, and I was like feeling amazing. And he's like, yeah, I never met someone like. First of all, talks about me. Very nice guy to do this, and he's like, oh, I never met someone like always confident to win it. I'm like, oh yeah, a bit of confidence. Like it's like I came back with the remark of, never met someone like me either. Yeah, I'm full of myself. I know. But we're talking, and the conversation's going dry because I'm talking about me, and like he's a kind of a distant friend of mine. So why would he want to talk about me? Like, yeah, I'm pretty interesting. I'm winning Student of the Year. I'm doing all these things. I'm sporty, athletic. I run this YouTube channel, which no one knows about. But I'm not interested to him. He's interested to him. Right now, my friend, like a friend of his, gives an out. I could talk about this topic, and I could very well. I could do very well, go on to talk about him, and it'd be a fruitful conversation. Nope, I blindsided by him. 30 seconds later, he's walking off. Don't blame him. Why would he want to talk about me for the next 20 minutes? It's boring. And then, principle number 2. I should probably do that instead of this. I don't hate you guys. Is you want to be positive. Like, you don't have to pretend like world peace and there's no hunger and the world's amazing and like there's no flaws and I'm so happy that if you slap me in the face I'll give you a kiss. Like, you don't have to be that. If you could be that, I'd go for it. But I'm telling you to be more positive because no one's going to enjoy the company of a negative person. In the 48 Laws of Power, it specifically says that negative people will ruin you and you can die from someone else's misery. It describes them as a poison. Do you want to be a poison? I don't remember lacing arsenic in my tea last night. I don't want poison around me. So you don't. So no one else does. Like, you and other people, you're different, but like basic levels, basic components. Those basic components are very similar, which means that if you don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. So, negative, no one's going to hang around. You are positive. Mountains fall, seas part, valleys fill in. Everything comes together for you. I'll tell you of a time when I met the most positive person. I was sick this day, and I went into a coffee shop and I saw a friend of mine, and they're real positive, and I talked to them, started feeling better, forgot I was sick. Now this other person, her friend, started talking to her. The most positive person I have ever met was this woman. I went from like sick, tired, life was awful, to I was high on drugs. I was perfectly fine, healthy as a dog, I don't really know. I felt amazing. All from this person's influence. I tell you, 1% of their positivity, I'd be set for life. So that's what, like, I can do that. So I want that. And everyone wants that. Like, I haven't seen them since, but like, give me a chance to be like, oh, you want to go out with them? Boom, done. Going out. Like, that's what I'd want. They're such a positive person. Now, if you decide, well, I want to be cool, I want to be negative, yeah, I'll tell you of another time. One of my guys was negative. I'll do it quick. I don't really want to talk about it. One of my guys was negative. I tried cheering him up. Maybe he's having a rough day. I don't judge people. Everyone has bad days. All that. Tried cheering him up. Doesn't work. I walk off 30 seconds later. Once again, not a saint. I ain't here for that. So, yeah, not doing that. Now, principle number 3. This is where you can talk about yourself and your experiences, and you get to talk about how interesting you are. You're going to talk with stories. Now, although you're getting better at talking about people and enjoying that more, we all still want to talk about ourselves just a little bit. Like I do. everyone does. I'm sure Dale Carnegie, even though he knew that the principals were best to talk about the other people, every now and again would like to talk about himself. And Dale Carnegie does. There's a story of when he was a great conversationalist and he was talking about the other person the whole time, this botanist. But he also brings in the fact that he is a garden, that he is this. So you want to give them just a little bit about you so they don't feel like they're given a lecture and they don't feel like they're being interrogated. But you want them to still be the major voice. And how you want to do this is through stories. You're going to talk through stories. You tell someone a story, it's going to give them a new outlook on things, and it's going to make them feel better about certain things. But what it's also going to do when you talk with stories is that you get to talk about yourself, of course, and you get to do it in a way that people truly enjoy. Now, not all of us take spontaneous flights to Italy or go to the Broadway shows every other day. So we don't have a lot of stories. What I'm telling you to do is just get out and experience the world a bit more. Now, I don't mean go around the world, but like if you have a bit of an opportunity to do something. The 4 Hour Workweek talks of a person who took a year off work and went around in like a catamaran, like a boat. Now, you don't have to do that. But working less and having a business, that's going to give you those stories to talk about. So working hard is actually going to get those stories. And going out and enjoying things, which you can only do by working hard. So that's a really important principle. And then from my video, or maybe it's in the future or the past, depending on how I upload this, the time shift you all get to enjoy. But you're going to learn more. Now, principle 1 and 2 makes you enjoyable to talk with. Principle 3 makes it interesting light to the conversation and gets you a bit to talk about yourself. Principle 4, when you're talking, it's either going to be story or knowledge. Like, story, knowledge. You can get stories. You're going to need a lot more knowledge now. Then you can get stories. But by that point, your knowledge is already up here. You can't see my hands. They're gone. They're so far. Your knowledge, how much you know in areas, is so important. In my opinion, one of the greatest things you can do is learn. Now, I'll put it in the past. I've made a video. I think learning is absolutely amazing. I think reading is more important. It sticks in my brain better and has loads of benefits to you. But when you know more stuff, you're just gonna be amazing, because you're gonna be fun to talk with. Then you have something to talk with. The stories have something. But if you don't really do much and you're not like a multimillionaire, or you don't really go out or whatever, say you've been working really hard recently and you haven't gone out and partied, or I don't know, whatever you do. I do sports. That's my stories. You can learn stories from books, which is number 1. Like I talk about Dale Carnegie and I talk about my experience. They're both stories, so I've told this through stories. But the knowledge comes from Dale Carnegie. Like the 4 Hour Workweek is knowledge. Like all these things you have to learn them. And that's going to give you some great talking points in that. So I'm going to give you a summary of these 4 principles in the context of a conversation with a friend of mine. So walking home with this lad, and he asked me about a sore muscle in the gym and that. And I just explained to him that it's probably DOMS, so delayed onset muscle soreness, and I explained how the muscle is used for that. So that's principle number 4, the knowledge of muscles. It's not deep knowledge, it's basic knowledge. That's all you really need. For certain points, it's all you really need. So I'm asking him about the gym, how he's been doing. I ask him how consistent he's been, how he's been doing, what he's been enjoying. I also ask him about the Dave Crockett book he's reading, see if that's helping him at all. And he's talking to me about consistency and all these things. He's been not doing as much recently, but he wants to get back doing more. And he's just talking to me about all these things and the principles of everything. So that's principle number 1, talking about them. Now, when he says he hasn't gone much of late, I tell him about when I first started. So I tell him about when I was starting out in the gym, and what I did when I started out was I did 100 push-ups every day, 10 sets of 10. I couldn't do much, and kept it simple. That's how I kept being consistent, and I did that every day no matter what. And then I always thought, keep it simple. When you're starting back, don't think too much. Just do one thing. You don't expect to make gains today. You expect to make gains in 6 months. You're only going to get to that 6 months gains if you go and build up to it. And not build up to it in the sense that your body's adjusting or not working hard. I'm saying build up so you get the habit of doing it without having to put too much effort in. Something Atomic Habits talks about. That's principle number 2. Relating back to me. Could also be a bit of principle number 4 when I mentioned Atomic Habits. But that's in this video, not in the conversation. And that's principle 1, 2, 3, 4 in a conversation. And this was a very fun conversation, by the way, for me. Even though I wasn't talking, well, I told a story about myself, so I got to talk about myself. I was mainly talking about this guy and his experience in the gym. Like, I tell if the conversation's going well, because there's a route back to our houses where one splits my way and one splits his way. And my way is going to make 5 minutes onto his journey, but he gets to talk with me for like an extra. He gets to talk with me for 2, and it's going to take 5 minutes to get back to where we were. So he goes with me. So he takes that delay to continue this conversation. And that's it when you know a conversation is going well. People go out of their way to talk with you. And you do that with principle 1, 2, 3, and 4 by being talking about them, being positive, being knowledgeable in areas, and having stories. I know that's something I love. That's how you be enjoyable to talk with. Keep working hard on your journey to success. Well done, everyone.